What's up, guys? Tony Hannity's here from LazyTechGuys.com. Today, we're going to take a look at the camera quality between the LG G4, the Nexus 6, and of course, the OnePlus 2. Stay tuned! Now, before we look at the camera UI, let's take a look at the actual cameras themselves. The Motorola Nexus 6 has a 13 megapixel camera, dual LED flash which goes around the ring, 2.0 f-stop, OIS, and a bunch of other things, including 4K video recording and face recognition. The LG G4 has a 16 megapixel camera on the back with LED flash, 1.8 f-stop, so a little better than the Nexus 6. OIS, also much better OIS quality than the Nexus 6. And everything else that you might expect in a manual camera, a digital camera, because it does have manual mode, which we'll get into. And then finally, the OnePlus 2 camera is a 13 megapixel camera with dual LED flash. It has OIS as well too. It also has an aperture of 2.0. It has 4K resolution with video and does have something that is borrowed from the LG G4, but it might not be the exact same methodology, which is laser autofocus. So there's a laser coming out of this and coming out of this. Lasers. 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 Okay, before we get into the actual quality of the cameras, I wanted to take a look at the actual UI and interface of each camera. So first off, let's look at the LG G4. The nice thing about the LG G4 is the camera itself has a really good auto mode, but it also has its own built-in manual mode. And in the manual mode, not only can you change the ISO and the exposure, but you also have the ability to change the shutter speed, and that's something you don't have with other flagship devices like the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. Also, it does shoot in RAW, and just like you would expect from any other camera, you also have the ability to have a timer. It has voice activation capability and a light meter as well too. So that's pretty simplistic, but it also has a more pro aspect to it, and that's really nice that it's come stock like that. Now, looking at the Nexus 6 camera, I am in fact talking about the official Google camera. And although Google does really good with their photos application, with the arranging and search options and the auto awesome and things like that, their own camera isn't the greatest camera at all. In fact, on my Nexus 6, I rarely use the Google camera app, but for the purpose of this test, I didn't want to use third-party apps because, well, we'd be here forever. But anyways, going back to the camera, it's very simplistic, and I guess for some people, that's not a bad thing. There's just one button on the right side for the shutter, and then you've got your three ellipses, which allows you to switch between the front facing and the rear facing, flash on and off, HDR, grid, and timer. And then one thing you don't really see unless you know where to find it, you swipe in from the left, and that's where you can do your photosphere, panorama, lens blur, and then switch between camera and video. And finally, the camera that everyone's talking about is the OnePlus 2 camera. Now, the OnePlus 2 camera is its own skin of the Google camera, but in some degree it is a little bit better. It doesn't have a lot of manual capability like the LG G4 does. However, one feature that is very unique is when you tap on the screen, you can actually not just focus at a certain point. There's also a little light bar there, which allows you to either brighten or dim the switch to easily make the exposure either brighter or darker. So that's kind of handy. And then also, very similar to the Google camera, if you swipe in from the left, you also have the ability to do photos, video, panorama. But then two other options that are unique to the OnePlus 2 camera, at least compared to the Google camera, is slow motion and then time lapse. Okay, so I went around the San Francisco Bay Area today and I took a few shots outside as well as indoors with those three phones. And before I tell you which shot is which, I just kind of want to give you an example side by side of what these three cameras look like. So this here is a mural, I guess, over in Berkeley, California, in the Gilman District, obviously, by the Office Depot and Phil's Coffee. Not a sponsor. Anyways, but the question is obviously, which is which? So, which one do you like better? Do you like A, B, or C? Now, if you said A, that was actually taken by the OnePlus 2. And again, that's 13 megapixel, 6 lens camera with OIS, and that's the one of the main focus of this review because it's the newest phone of the bunch. If you said that you liked B, that one is actually taken with the Nexus 6. And lastly, obviously, would be C, which was taken with the LG G4. Now, of the three, personally, when I did this as a blind test with your average everyday people, I showed them the three photographs, and I said, which one did you like? And majority of them actually chose the LG G4. Now, that's obviously not scientific. That may mean nothing to you. But at first glance, people like how the colors are a little bit more saturated. It's not exact true to life. I mean, if we went to this exact place right now, well, maybe not now. If we went back there, you would definitely notice the color difference on here. It's a little bit better than it is when you're actually there. And Samsung does this as well too, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, I mean, if we're talking about better camera quality, the LG G4 wins, at least for this part of the test. Okay, so next up we are going to do kind of a macro shot. It's also going to be outdoors, but I want to see how it was when you took a close-up picture and tried to get one of those depth of field kind of photographs. So this is a beautiful flower that we have here. And so again, I'm going to ask you guys, you can just say aloud which one that you like the best, A, B, or C. So if you said A, that one was taken with the LG G4. If you said B, that one was actually taken with the Nexus 6. And then obviously C was taken with the infamous OnePlus 2. Now, personally, I preferred C, although the depth of field itself wasn't very apparent. However, the subject matter, these flowers or whatever it is, I felt that the focus and the color of the flowers were a lot more vibrant. And that might just be my personal taste, but let me know what you guys think. So again, first one was the Nexus 6, second, LG G4, and third, the OnePlus 2. Okay, so the last test that I want to take a look at is low light shots. Low light is very, very important because you never really know when you're going to have enough light to get the best photo. Sometimes, as a father, I can only get whatever I can with the shots when my kids are running around. And so, out of the Nexus 6, the G4, and the OnePlus 2, which one of these low light shots are the best? So let's take a look at Exhibit A, B, and C. Now, obviously, C is the worst out of the bunch. You can't even tell what's there, which is laundry detergent, because that's super sexy. But let's just go ahead and leave that out. In fact, if you haven't figured that out, that's the Nexus 6. And again, I know that could be tweaked if you have an application like the manual camera application or any of the other applications that allow you to manually change the ISO and shutter speed and things like that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about stock apps that come with the phones themselves. The next one, though, that I want you guys to take a look at is B. This was shot with the LG G4, and there's no HDR. It's on auto mode. I didn't change any ISO or anything. I just point and click. Now, arguably, it did take a little bit longer to process, but that extra split half a millisecond or whatever it was makes the photo brighter. And it allows a little bit more light in, so the subject, which was laundry detergent, was a little bit easier to look at. Whereas the first one, the OnePlus 2, it did an okay job. It wasn't terrible. It's legible. Like, you can figure it out. You can put two and two together, no pun intended. But when we're doing comparisons of cameras, the LG G4 wins again. What's the verdict? At least with these test shots that I've taken, the LG G4 is by far the ultimate winner. Now, could that be because they have a 16 megapixel camera versus a 13 megapixel camera? It's not always about the megapixels, and I know you have probably seen, read, and heard that before, but the fact of the matter is LG's sensors are very, very good. And the fact that it does have a manual mode, I don't know necessarily if that just by default makes the lenses a lot better. It probably doesn't, but if you want to go from auto to manual, it's just really nice that it's already built in. Now, I do need to point out that OnePlus got in touch with me regarding the camera of the OnePlus 2 and said that there will be a manual mode as an OTA upgrade in the near future. But until then, if you want any of those manual capabilities, you have to download a third-party app. And not to say you wouldn't do that anyways, but if we're comparing the stock cameras, the LG G4 wins. So, thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe, please like, click here and there and there. I don't know what, if you click here, I don't know what happens. I'm probably just going to pause the video, but I might put something right here. Anyways, love you guys, and let me know how the video quality of the production value of these videos have been just for the past two videos, because I've switched from using Windows Movie Maker, yes, that's what I was using, to Adobe Premiere Elements. So hopefully it's a little bit better because there's B-roll and C-roll and F-roll and stuff. And I know you guys don't like the background music, so listen. No background music. Take care, guys. Peace.